Welcome to yet another episode of Water to Wine. It's your girl Papa. Today we're going to tackle the crushing weight of heartbreak and the lie that shame makes you unreachable. We're going to highlight the biblical intersection and the paradox of smoke. And that's why we're having the Smoky Bay. Because even when you feel like you've gone up in flames, the smoke is proof that there was once a fire, and God knows exactly how to find you in the fog. This episode is not sponsored. Today's feature wine is the Smoky Bay, a red Cabernet Sauvignon from Australia. We hope you're getting comfortable, you're pouring a drink as we're smoldering you into the haze of I do to I'm done. What happens when the fire goes out? Smoke, right? We plunge into the messy aftermath of the remains after the fire of a relationship has gone out. The haze that makes it hard to see the future, and the sting residue of shame. As we prepare to light the fire on today's episode, we welcome our guest. Joania, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, thanks so much for having me here today, Fafa. I'm actually honored to be on your podcast, so thank you for having me. As you said, I'm Joania, and I am a very proud mom of two incredibly, beautifully, kind, wonderful children. And I do have to always shout them out so they know they are my absolute heartbeats, though. And I've had a lot of experiences in my life that has definitely tested my faith and have me basically in the clouds, if you would. We'll show you that smoke. So I'll talk a little
We're happy to have. We're going to ask you questions.
Yes.
And you're going to be answering the questions.
I am.
Our very first question will be, let's talk about the beauty found in the ashes. What's your relationship with organized religion?
That's a good question, Papa. You're coming out hard, right on the right. We're starting off hard. I grew up in the Catholic faith, and very devout Catholics actually, and it goes back generations with my family. They were expected to go to church, go to confession, take all the sacraments, all of the things. So I grew up in that faith, and I firmly believed in it. I lived by it all through life. When I was younger, my mom fell ill, with a terminal illness actually, and though she battled and we prayed and we had faith, it wasn't for her. She lost her battle and she passed away. That was a huge test for me. As far back as I can remember, I think that was one of the first times I actually had to process how I get through something by using my religion to do so, my faith to do so. So as I said, we were Catholics, and I knew God could fix everything. And as much as I prayed, I still heard, okay, go to church and talk to the priest. And in talking to the priest, the response that I got back was that basically I needed to have stronger faith. And I thought, no one has stronger faith than me. I believe in everything, but it's not working out. Well, you have to go to church. You have to make sure you do this. I'm like, you're missing my point here. I am hurting. I am questioning why God took my mom, basically. Yet you're focused on go to church and the whole religious this, that, not trying to help me in other ways. So that's when I really started to question, like, do I really need this institution here for me to have a relationship with God? Do I need to follow this organized structure of faith to have a relationship with God? And, I started to look at things differently. Maybe God and I could just be cool, and I could just talk to him straight, and I don't need these people or this building, this third party,
So you deconstructed from the whole religion and
Absolutely.
The whole faith. Which brings me to...
Perfect word, actually. Yeah.
Which brings me to the psalmist in Psalms 119, where they write, though I am like a wineskin in smoke, I do not forget your decrees. So even when you deconstructed, you still wanted to be cool with God, right? You are wineskin in smoke, where you become shriveled, dark, and tough, but yet you're capturing your weathered feelings of trauma, of pain, and yet you're still holding on to faith. You're still holding on to God and going like, me and you can be cool, but we're not doing this religion thing anymore. Your ideology is being crushed, And while God is preparing you into this fermentation season, so this is what this whole conversation is translating to. Thank you for sharing, you.
For sure. That's a very good way to put it. That's a very good example. Yeah, it's relatable.
Second question will be around your amazing kids. You've been married before and was in management in the federal government. When did everything go into flames?
You're right. I've been married before. We'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, from what I can sense that where you're going. After going through everything that I spoke of with losing my mom, connecting with God kind of on my own, moved away from the church, if you would, and I spoke to God regularly. I still kept him at the center of everything I do. I tried my best to, I should say. And, I met my husband, and when I met my first husband, there was a void that I walked with. And, having lost my mom, we were like this. And I felt I had to fill that in. And for me, the only way I could fill that was with family. And what I knew from talking to Big G up there is that he had to be right in the mix. However my family looked, he had to be right in the mix. And I was committed to do that. So when I met my husband, I did that. I prayed. I showed grace and gratitude on a regular. I connected with him any chance I could get. I prayed to him. I prayed for people. And, things started to look better for me. I had this beautiful family, thriving, a wonderful husband. I had a beautiful little boy. I had an incredible career in the government. I was slowly but surely making my moves. One day discovered, and I won't necessarily go into all the details, but I one day discovered that my perfect husband was not perfect at all. And I mean, I know no one's perfect, but in my world he was. And there was infidelity, and a lot of it. And that really knocked me down, because I felt like, well, why would this happen to me? And so who do I turn to blame? Not my husband for doing the things that he did. I looked up, I'm like, you made me believe in you. You made me believe that if I kept you here and if I did what you asked me to do and I lived in your light and I followed your way, everything would be fine. Yet it wasn't. So I was very upset with God. I blamed him, and I told him I blamed him. It's not like I kept it to myself. He'd know anyway. I told him, I'm not happy with you. Things at work started to not go the way that they were going. They weren't on the same path. I wasn't as interested. I wasn't as committed. Everything started to crumble. Everything started to burn. Like someone just threw a fire on me, and they're going to burn down my little world that I created for myself, which we were supposed to protect. That's how I viewed it. And that's when, so learning of that infidelity and how it impacted every other aspect of my life, that's when things started to really fall apart.
In your life right now, what does the smoke feel like? Does it feel like fog, confusion, sting of regret, pain? Did you get remarried ever? Did you ever think about dating? Walk us through that whole journey of the flame moving into the smoke of it. Did you ever believe that God was standing with you? He wanted you to clear it on your own. So walk us through that journey when you were rebuilding.
As I said, I was so angry with God. It's almost like whatever relationship we had, I just broke it. If I could equate it to boyfriend, girlfriend, we broke up. I dumped him. I dumped God. And I had no issues with it. That's where I was. I honestly blamed him. And what I didn't tell you guys, which I'll tell you now, is that when I decided to end things with my first husband, and I left and you had to find a new place to live and all of these things, after moving into my new place, about 2 weeks after, I started to feel sick. And losing my mom to cancer made me think that, you know what, you're probably going to die of cancer. I had that belief in my head, and everything else is falling apart. So the minute I wasn't feeling well, that's when my mind went. And I thought, yeah, of course, top it up, God. Why not? You've done everything. I was very angry. I went to the doctors and I found out the reason I was feeling sick was because, as I mentioned in the beginning, 2 beautiful children. So when I left my first husband, I was with child. and unaware. I did not know that I was pregnant with my now amazing, wonderful daughter. So having to process that, I completely broke up with God. Okay? Little did I know in that moment that this was what was going to help bring me through these flames. I just had to have enough faith and give it enough time to like burn out, so that the flame will become smoke, essentially, right? And in being pregnant, I was forced to look at life differently. I was forced to start thinking, okay, I'm now going to have 2 children on my own. I can't have them growing up to deal with and feel these kinds of things. So I'm going to pour everything I know and have into them, right? And in doing that, I started to realize the one thing I wasn't giving them, which my mom gave me, was that faith in God. But I'm mad at him. I don't want him anywhere around me because I figure all he does is destroy and set fires that burn and cause all this pain, right? I'm like, no, to use your word, fog, that just was there that you couldn't understand. I'm in this position, I'm afraid, I'm doing the best I can, but it's still lingering. I need to refocus on my job. I need to do well for my kids. I need to do this. But there was still something, that made you confused. My focus was to make sure I feed and take care of these children, but I was still confused. I started to live through my kids, see them happy. I got a new place. I saw that things were working. I'm advancing at work, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I could feel that I was coming out of the heat. All that was burning me, I was coming out of it, and things were kind of just above. They were still there. Oh, I'm dealing, it's not dealt with yet. Mm-hmm. I just continued living my life, making sure that I kept him in it. I brought him back. We made up. My buddy now. We made up. We're good. Eventually, I started to open up to love again, and I'm like, who knows? Maybe one day I'll even get married again, but who knows? And it just happened in the most unplanned, unexpected way. Of after years of me just working for my kids. I remember a girlfriend just called me out of the blue and said, she's taking a vacation and she wants company. I'm like, well, I've got 2 kids, I'm working, I got bills, I can't afford a vacation. She's like, oh, I'll pay for half. So, well, okay. And I'm like, well, that I can make that happen, absolutely. And I'll have to find someone to take care of my kids. And I had someone who was babysitting my kids at the time, and I told her, I'll pay you X amount if you just stay here for 5 days, and make sure they get to school. And, everything just kind of fell into place. And I'm like, God, if this is what you have for me, I'll take it. I need a vacation. That's where I found my husband, on vacation. There's no way I could have gone on my own. Everything just kind of fell into place. And I opened up to that and started talking to him again. And it was one of our first dates. Of course we went back and met, whatever. One of our first dates, and he came and he had a little testament. Do you remember those little books? They were about this big. They come in red and blue. I don't know if there are other colors, but I remember them being red and blue. And his just looked like it was used, like it was crumpled. I'm like, you're reading this, you're using. I never leave home without it. You never leave home without it. Nope. I read it. I try to read a couple pages every day. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to read a couple pages of my Bible. So is this God telling me that, yeah, go for it? Because of course I was apprehensive, like, these men, right? But this was a sign from God that, go ahead. It's okay. So I took it as that sign, and a year and a half later we were married. Yeah.
This brings me to a particular Bible story where Moses is leading the Israelites to the promised land, right? And I think it's in Exodus 13 where it's written that by day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of a cloud to guide them to their way, meaning he's guiding them to the promised land. When you're sharing, what I'm taking is when your future is so cloudy, where you feel there's a lot of uncertainty, you're dealing with betrayal,
confused.
The cloud isn't a sign that God is gone, but rather it's a sign he's leading you. He's leading the way. He's with you in every situation. Joania, thank you for sharing, because the sign is right there.
It's right
here. He led you. husband
Yeah.
through a vacation.
Yeah. You see, and you
Wow.
should have been around in my life back then. I didn't know you back then because I would have loved to hear this because this confusion was heavy and I would never relate it to God trying to show me the way. So, yeah.
So our next question is going
Okay.
to be centered around betrayal and pain. So betrayal and pain often leave residue of feelings of unworthiness and shame. Do you think the shame felt is coming from the heart of God, or is it a smokescreen created by fear of judgment that people just put up to protect themselves? How are you navigating shame and fear? What advice do you have for somebody listening to us today to drop that smokescreen?
I'm going to need this. I'm just going to need a little. This question is, wow, I am so glad you got to me when you did because I am in a position where I could reflect on that. And in speaking about the first breakdown in my first marriage, I was riddled with fear. A fear of, I can't trust. This is going to fall apart. This thing's going to happen. But God was there. I called on him. I got through that. Found my husband. We have a beautiful marriage. And I feel almost vindicated that, it wasn't me. I'm a good person. I feel good about myself. I have a loving husband. I have a beautiful family. And we're just going to build from here. It's all good. I'm talking to God again. We're good, right? Well, you guys, fast forward about 4 years, I'd say, of just, when I tell you beautiful, I was the happiest I'd been in as long as I can remember. My kids were thriving, my husband was amazing, and just, we had a great bond, a great relationship. I could just think of him and I'd smile, And from the surface looking in, it was, from the outside rather looking in, beautiful. And it wasn't a show. I really felt it. He really felt it. We made each other feel good. Life has a way sometimes of just throwing things at you when you least expect it. So fast forward, and then I come to find out this husband number 2 was also unfaithful, okay? And I was unaware. Unlike my other one where things came out, I was unaware for the longest time. I had no idea. So I noticed we started having issues and we'd argue about little things, the dumbest things, that when you look back at them, why are we arguing? Why did this argument start when this isn't us? This is just a tension, heaviness. And then it came out, okay? And, this is my story to share as well, so I feel fine in sharing it without salacious details. But the long and the short of it is that not only did my husband have an affair and was unfaithful, his affair partner became pregnant, okay? And that, I thought, almost destroyed me. And I was so embarrassed, more than hurt even at first. My thought initially went back to, your first husband cheated on you. And it's almost like he didn't do it right, because the second husband came and cheated and left proof for everyone to see in the form of an innocent, beautiful blessing from God. Because I have nothing against the child is innocent, and I believe every child is a blessing from God. But why me, right? And then just came the heaviness of shame. I owned it. I took it as mine, and I walked with it. So whereas the first one, there was just the heaviness, the fear of, I can't trust anybody again because it's going to happen. This time around, it was not fair to say, there's shame here. I'm ashamed. And why are you doing this to me? Right? I went right back to, why? I trusted you again. We've been through it. I forgave you, right? And you loved me through it, yes? You loved me through it and brought me through it to do this and to give it to me harder. Like, what am I doing with this? How do I do this? What lesson do I need to, what are you trying to teach me? What am I not doing in following your way? What do you want me to do? Maybe you need me to forgive him. Maybe that's what it is, because I suck at forgiving, right? Maybe that's what it is. Let me see what I can do with your help, if it's possible for me to forgive. And for about a year, I'm not trying to pretty it up. We were arguing, we were fighting. There were words that I cannot repeat on this podcast left my mouth and his back and forth. And it was just the most awful time. And then I'm thinking, how is this going to impact my kids who have already gone through this? Why would you give me this kind of, what is my ex-husband going to say about me bringing this into my kids' life? It was just everything. It was just heavy on me. And I thought, okay, let me see if I can work with this. Maybe this is something you want me to do, is work with it. Maybe, I don't know. Let me see. So let's see what we could do. We talking. This is a beautiful child. It's his child. He's my husband. We're married. I love him. Let me see if we can make this work. Can we make this work? Why not? I had a stepfather. It worked. I didn't come into the world the way she did, but it's a daughter. Let me see if this could work. So in talking to my husband, and he was, I love you, I love my family, I want the family, and I'm thinking, okay, he's saying all the right things, God. So this is the lesson that I'm taking, is that you want me to expand my ability to forgive and, put you even deeper in the center of us and put it in your hands and let you guide us. This is what you want me to do. Okay, this is what you want me to do. So the conversations continued with my husband and I. We were back and forth, to the point where, okay, let's see if we can make this work. Let's see. There was always an uneasiness about it. It never felt 100% like this is what God wanted me to do. But I kept at it because I'm like, this is just me fighting what he wants me to do. For once in my life, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to listen to my truth. And he had to shame me. I felt it was him. He had to make me feel that, like, to bring me down to the lowest, where it's hard for me to keep my head up, for me to get it. I get it. I'm going to listen. I'm going to show you I can forgive. Because if you can forgive, who am I to not? I can forgive. We talk. And then 8 months or so pass, almost a year. Fast forward all the details, I come to find out, not from him, that the same woman is pregnant with their second child. And I said, God, F you. I was done. F you, F your saints, F your angels, F your, I am done. You want to call me a backslider or whatever, an atheist or what, I am done. You go about yourself, go blow your thunder and lightning elsewhere. I am done. I don't want it. I don't want any part of it. And at that point, I'm like, with my husband, I'm done. The conversation is over. There's no moving forward from this. You go and live the life that you choose. And in doing that, I was angry, I was hurt, and I slipped into like a depression, where I'm just like, God doesn't love me. How could God love me? And that's just some of the things I've told you that's happened to me, because we're keeping it under relationship. But God does not love me. God could not possibly love me and do these things to me.
So Joania, at this point, you're going through a second heartbreak.
Second, worse than the first.
Are you still working at this point as well? Can you also tie that in at this point?
So
because when you say God does not love me, I want them to know what
God
you
does not love
actually
me.
mean by God does not love
God
me.
does not love me, because even at work that I invested everything in, yes, I put my all into, as I told you, building up, take care of my family. And I got to a point in the corporate ladder where no matter what I did, as educated as I am, as experienced as I was, as knowledgeable as I was, and I knew my job well. I trained people to do my job numerous times over. Positions of opportunity for advancement would come up on a regular, and I was overlooked repeatedly. How can you bring someone in for me to train to do a position for which you've overlooked me? One time, okay, whatever, it happens. 2 times, okay, whatever, it happens. 3 times, leave me alone. You don't love me. People who've seen me, rise through the ranks and just get stuck here, so I'm looking and I'm like, oh, like they're probably laughing at me. There's the shame again. I was like, why are you doing this to me? And this is all going on at the same time. to the point where I going to work, I felt physically ill. And I felt like I'm going to lose this battle if I keep showing up at this place where I vehemently feel like I don't belong. I had to tell him off. I needed a break from God because God isn't for me. And I believe that, and slipped. I stayed on my couch in my pajamas. I didn't do any of my work. I didn't care, and I have my now daughter who's 14, 15, impressionable, seeing me in this state. I had to snap out of it because I didn't want her to take this on. I didn't want her to feel that she had to take care of me, right? So I had to pull myself together. And because I have so many past traumas and past experiences of dealing with things, and when I had to look back and say, okay, how did you deal with it? There was always that connection of, okay, I gotta go back to this guy. We gotta make up and work through it, right? I have to put my tail through my legs and go back and say, I'm sorry. I am sorry. This time, it was short. I grieved my first husband for years. Part of it was I had a little boy, I had a little baby. Life just, so I never had time to even process. But here, my son is at a different province in university. My daughter is, she's almost grown. So they didn't need me as much. So it was all on me. And I check back and I'm like, we gotta talk so we could figure this out. And and I reached out and I just said, God, like, why am I here again? You took my mom, you took my first husband, you gave me a difficult life, you messed with my job, you know what I mean? And just listing all the things that he did. And I thought you wanted me to be with this person. And I spoke to this a little bit earlier when I said, you don't hear words, but you feel the words. And I just felt I had to show you that you were worthy enough to love. I'm worthy enough to love. Of course I'm worthy enough to love, but I had to believe it. And I truly believe that my second husband came into my life to show me and prove to me that I was worthy of loving. Because as I said, our relationship was beautiful. I felt incredible. And I came back into who I normally would have been prior to the hurt. And that's him, right? So we spoke and I prayed and I cried and I got back to journaling and I wrote and I prayed and we spoke and I apologized. Please forgive me for telling you that. I take it back. I didn't really give you the finger, you know what I mean? So I talked to God just like this. He knows I'm worthy. He made me, right? So we spoke and he said, now take your lesson. When I left my first husband, I was angry for years. I'm not exaggerating when I say years. And the anger never subsided. It was just a rage for years. I finally released it when I met my second husband. This case, I'm like, okay, you hurt me. I want to say worse than anyone has ever hurt me because I loved you freely and completely. And in spite of everything I've been through, I was able to give you that love and you took that for granted and you hurt me. But you have two beautiful children. You could go live your life. And I released the anger. I was expecting that I have another 7 years of anger based on my past. I wasn't angry anymore. And I just let it go. I'm like, okay, what's the lesson that I needed here? What did I have to learn here? It's something that I was missing that he knew I wouldn't get if he didn't make me get it. So here I was, as you said earlier in one of the questions, and it just came to me now that you said, when we're looking at the cloud as God obstructing us, if you would, for lack of a better word, it's really him trying to guide us. When you said that earlier, and just in this moment, Papa, I'm realizing that what happened with my second husband and the lessons I needed, a lesson that I wouldn't have gotten had there not been this big burst of fire and flame to burn and create that amount of smoke. I wouldn't have got it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got it.
Thank you for bringing us into this vulnerable space. I can tell that when you're sharing, this is a very deep, personal experience that you're bringing us all in. And all our viewers out there, if you're hearing this, every time you feel unworthy, I want you to remember that the smoke is rising. You are not trapped at the bottom. but you are being carried through the smoke. You are rising, because as Joania is sharing, she's going to be touching on her rising, but she's giving you her bottom time, the time that she spent in the bottom, when the smoke was really being formed and created. Thank you for your strength to even share this. Thank you for being so open, and thank you for being so truthful and vulnerable that you're telling all of us, I don't even know how to say
deepest.
Your deepest pain.
Yeah, and it's true. It's authentic, deep, it's real, it's still fresh. You know, so even as I share right now, I still feel some emotions.
I hope on this podcast you're going to get some clarity.
I can attest, I can testify that even just the way you mentioned your example with the cloud and the smoke from the cloud, that I was not looking at it as guidance, more as confusion. And it's, as I said in the last question, it's in this moment that I'm like, that's what that was. I needed this lesson that I didn't realize I needed, that I would not have received because I would have never removed myself, right? He had to create the biggest fire possible, right? Because I'm now built with Teflon, so fires can burn and I won't really feel it, right? But he's like, this has to be a big, huge burning fire to get her attention, to get her to understand that there are some lessons that she still needs to be the person I want her to be.
Amen. So our next question is going to be around our smoke metaphor, because just to remind you, we're having the smoky bed.
It's almost done.
So in relation to smoke, it stings your eyes, it doesn't make you breathe well, and it keeps you from seeing the path ahead.
Right.
Encourage somebody today going through something deep, pain, shame, confusion. Tell them that one day it will be okay. I'll let you do that in your own words as God leads you.
God will lead me. He led me here. He led me to here. You know, guys, even though I say the smoke is cleared, there's clarity. I can make peace with certain things. I can see my future. There's still pain. That takes time, takes prayer. You know, you're still in it. And I remember being so deep in it when it was fresh and just happening that I couldn't see nothing clear. You know, you just with hurt, angst, feelings of everything, from anger to sadness to everything. You're consumed by it. You can't see. This is never going to go away. It's how you feel. And why this happening? You're stuck in this place, right? But you guys, one of my favorite Bible verses is Isaiah 41:10. And it's one of the and I think that there's talk about fear mentioned in the Bible so many times, but it's one of the ones where God distinctly tells you to fear not. I am with you. I will not leave you. You know, no clearer words. No matter what is going on, don't be afraid, or don't even allow yourself for a minute to think that I will leave you. This is my translation, okay? And as I told you guys, like, this is it. It's fundamental when you're in a position of feeling that everything is wrong, everything hurts, everything bad happened to me. I'm never gonna get out of it. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I'm down. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I don't want to bathe. I don't want to talk to anybody, see anybody. Basically, F the world, don't ask me for, right? You guys know that saying. And I do swear a little. We talk about it, we're good. But seriously, God tells you, do not fear. I will not leave you. I'm always with you. The amount of times that I've told God to leave me alone, or I don't want you in my life, or you're not real, or if you really love me, like I would be in this situation. Look at this person, like they've been married for 20 years and they're so happy. Her husband never cheated on her. Her husband never did nothing. Look at this, look at this. Why is this? No matter how much you're like, get away from me, you're not real. Even though he might pause, he still loves you, right? And the pause is because of you, not because of him. He's still there. You get up in the mornings, he woke you up. You don't wake up on your own. Even though you don't want nothing to do, I don't want anything to do with God. I've said that. I don't want anything to do with God. All right, God. God, what? I still woke up. I had to get myself together. I still was able to have the energy and the fruition to care for my children, to do my work, to do my job, to cook a meal, to be sheltered. All of these things, they're Him. I'm grateful, even in my worst of times. So you might be listening to me like I haven't fully come, out from all of the pain of it, because you have memories. There are triggers. You'll see something. I will see, a couple just holding hands walking, and I'd be like, it's still there. But in the moments when I feel the most pain, I just like, Jesus, God, get me through this. That's all it takes. Get me through this. Hold my hand. Show me something else. You have to have faith that everything's going to work out. All of us on this world, every single one of us, I'm not special just because these things happen to me. There are people who these things and worse have happened to, or not, but everyone has gone through and come through something. So if you could look back and reflect back and see all the bad things you are now on the other side of, that's where you grab faith. You look back and say, 2 years ago, I didn't know where I'd be. Or if you had told me last year that I'd be here now, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought I was going to lose my house, but here I am. I'm still living and thriving. I didn't know how to buy groceries 2 months ago, and now my fridge is full. You can every single one of you, look at your specific lives and look back at incidents of your lives or periods of times in your lives when you thought it was the worst thing ever that happened to you, or it was the end, and look at you now and say that I am beyond that. I got through that, right? That's faith. Hold on to that and say, I have faith that I will get through. Even if you look and you're in a position where this is not good. I'm not in a good position right now. Yeah, I got through all of these things, but right now, as you're talking to me, my life is shit. I can't pay my bills. My husband, wife left me. My this, my that. My child is sick. I'm sick. Whatever it is you're going through, God today and find the faith and talk to God. You can touch Him if you want. He'll still be there.
So basically, not to keep living in the past,
Yep.
Not to keep living in our pain, so not to keep living in the things that are not working.
Yes.
You're encouraging us to walk in the faith, in the things that will work.
Absolutely.
In the future for us.
Absolutely. And, it's a lesson for me. I was talking to a girlfriend and she was like, well, you're never going to love again after this. And I'm like, you know what? Love didn't hurt me. It wasn't love that hurt me. I don't want love ever again, right?
Say that again.
I don't want love. It's not for me. And but here I am, only 3 short months after just literally just connecting with God and saying, we're going to get through this. I am going to trust you. You brought me through so much, even though I've given you all the trouble I've given you, and I've given God some problems. I'm telling you, even though through all that you never left me, and I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. No matter what happens, no matter how you talk to Him, no matter if you turn on Him or if you tell Him, leave me alone, God never, ever leaves. When I look back at how I came through something, it's God. What was the turning point? I spoke to God. When did this change? I went back to reading my Bible. What made you? I talked to Him. I apologized to Him. I begged Him to take me back. These are all the signs for me that God, Isaiah 41:10, I have no fear. God is always with me, no matter what. And even though you feel like crap, when you feel low and you feel like, I don't know how tomorrow is going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be there tomorrow. God never leaves you. So if you don't know how you're going to be there tomorrow, He knows how you're going to be there tomorrow. And you just got to go with that. You really have to tap into your faith. And it is most difficult to do at the times when you're struggling, but that is the most important time. That's when it's most needed to tap into.
Let's talk about purpose and when God calls you to do something, or when God has given you all these signs. You're so angry at Him, you're telling Him that He has left you, He has brought all the shame on you, and you're in a place where you're hiding from people, you're removing yourself from spaces, right? Please encourage us or walk us through the journey of assignment where God has called you from your hiding, where God has called you from the secret place
Yeah.
to now tell your story. When I was a kid, I used to sing, "Go tell it on the mountain." Exactly. I didn't realize what that meant because it's saying, go talk of my good news. Go spread the good news.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have a story to tell to everyone. You have a message. So walk us through that.
Girl, when he finally decides to call you, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. I mentioned earlier a couple of weeks ago, I was just sitting there and it just hit me. This is what you're supposed to do. Now, I didn't expand on what that is, but I had an encounter with a friend who said, like, you know, how are you telling all of this? Like, aren't you like embarrassed? This is not mine. This is for me to show people that no matter what happens, he's there. He's got you. He's in front of you. He's behind you. He's beside you. He'll guide you. He'll protect you. When God calls you to do something, you have two choices, because you still have a choice. You do it or you don't, right? I fought him for years. Me telling him to leave me alone, go away, then. All of these things was me fighting him, not doing what he was trying to tell me to do.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Joania. So a very final question for you. I love that you're sipping. That's the whole point of the podcast.
I'm sipping.
Our last question is going to be around being burned with the mark. So we see Jesus being betrayed. He goes through the pain of denial from his disciples. One denied him, one betrayed him. So betrayal comes from within, right?
Yeah.
So we see that. And in this context, separation feels like a permanent burn mark.
Yes.
It feels like your identity has been shattered. Thank you. So in relation to the scars that Jesus had on his hands when he was taken to the cross, right? Walk us through that identity crisis for some of us who are going through pain, confusion, and name it. Take us from the shift from I am a divorced person to more of I'm a person who has survived the fires. I'm a person that God has been with. He's always with me. So take us through that journey. Encourage us as well while you're taking us through that journey, and also wrap up the podcast while you're taking us through that journey.
That's only a little thing, right? Just a little question, right? No, too often, and I'm speaking from direct experiences here, that, you know, when people say you lost yourself or you lose yourself in someone, you know, too often we lose or we lose our sense of identity. We lose who we are, or we believe that my identity is this. I am married to this man and this is my identity. I am Mrs. So-and-so. That's my identity, right? You lose the fact that, no, I'm Joania, child of God, first and foremost. That's who I am. And I come with all of these other things. I'm a mom, I'm a director, I'm a teacher, I'm a police officer, I'm whatever you are, whoever you are. These are all things that come from the basis of you. I am Joania, child of God. So when you wrap yourself up so deeply in I am just Mrs. So-and-so, and it goes astray, it doesn't work out, this is where the sense of who am I now? What are people going to think when they see me? How are they going to look at me? You know, for so long I've been going on, my husband, no, and now that's no longer your husband. You feel a sense of not knowing who you are, but you could bet your life and you could always count on the fact that you are God's daughter. That no matter how many changes you go through in this life here, that one will never change. So the encouragement I have for all of you, or I don't want to say advice, but understanding that you are much more than just a wife or just a director or just a whatever. You are a child of God. You have someone who is willing to love you from the moment you took your first breath until beyond you take your last breath. And this, he will never leave you. He will never, ever leave you. Even when you don't believe in yourself, even when you don't like yourself, even when you don't want anyone around. God is always there. He's got your back. He stands in front of you to protect you, and he will lead the way to guide you to whatever it is your purpose, your actual purposes. He tries every day to make you see yourself the way he sees you, in his likeness, in his image, right? His goal is for you to see yourself and live your life to the potential that which he sees you, not anybody else. So that's my encouragement, is never lose sight of the greatness that you are as a result of where you came.
Thank you for sharing. And I would like to leave you with a little truth. It's often hard when you're going through the pain, when your heart is heavy. Your worth was never tied to your relationship, is what I want to remind each one of us here. It wasn't earned by the I do or the qualification or the hard work that you're doing, but rather the him who holds us on the daily. In the ancient tabernacles, incense, smoke, was considered a sweet aroma to the Lord.
Yes.
Your brokenness, your honest tears, and every mess you have shared with us today on this podcast, the confused prayers, the confusion, were a sacrifice unto him. So I hope you know that. I hope you are comforted. I hope this truth comes to you today, and everybody hearing us, that he loves you.
Amen.
And again, thank you for sharing, and thank you
pleasure.
for being on here. For closing remarks and for closing up and wrapping up
The whole big wrap up.
What do you have to tell our viewers today, listening to click subscribe, whatever?
Okay, I do share a lot on social media, and I'm really on Facebook predominantly under Joania Laura. So look me up and click like, subscribe. What I do want to tell you is just never lose sight of who you are and how worthy you are. Okay? Never lose sight of your worthiness. You are worthy, because you will be tested. You will have things happen and go through events and, things thrown at you, and rejection and betrayal and hurt and all of the things that will test you to where you feel like, well, maybe I deserve this, or I'm not worthy of anything better, whatever it is. You are worthy of the best, and you got the best of the best, always and forever in your corner. That's my message.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if you're listening to us, and if you're listening to this episode today, and you are standing in ruins, you feel the weight of shame so thick, it feels like breathing in ash, and everything makes you feel like a broken vessel or a smoldering wick, and unworthy because you've lived so long in the haze. May the God who led his people by a pillar of cloud lead you through your wilderness today. May the one who does not quench a smoldering wick breathe life back into your problems, your spirit, your situation. And may you find that even in the haze, you are seen, you are known, and you are deeply loved. I'm your host, Papa. Thank you for sitting with us in the embers with Joania and I today. See you next time.